I don't know. I got the heebie-jeebies. It's okay. I got them just for a second. I think part of me wants to exist after death.
Part of you wants to. Was it the heebie-jeebies about existing after death or about not existing after death?
Not existing after. Well, here, I'll share the thought was.
Phails at philosophy.
Within Western philosophy, it is precisely the soul concept, right? The notion of a self that persists after death, that is often used to defend against a notion of the impermanence of our mental experience.
How there could be a self that exists after death.
That's the argument here, is that, if there is something that exists after death, it's just an accumulation of experience that carries on.
Heebie-jeebies for a second. I think part of me wants to exist after death.
Part of you wants to. Was it the heebie-jeebies about existing after death or about not existing after death?
Not existing after. Well, here, I'll share the thought was.
Because I probably get heebie-jeebies for the other.
Existing after death.
That's just creepy. Like, I'm going to be around ghosting people? No way, man. Like,
I thought okay, so I decompose and then I've got this thing that's in there still. That's in a now decomposing object.
Yeah.
But I'm still in there.
Yeah.
Does it just like a light, like where the battery goes dead, I just fade until the thing is off and it's just, I don't know. I got the heebie-jeebies. It's okay. I got them just for a second.
Yeah, no, I think it's like we've got some reports of near-death experience and what that looks like, but that's very difficult to sort through. Like, what happens? Except, do we slowly fade our consciousness?
Ghosting people sounds a little cool, though. I mean, I don't have to be a mean ghost. I could be like Casper the Friendly Ghost.
Right.
I could, whisper positive affirmations to folks.
I don't know, all those ghost hunter videos that my kid watches.
Ghosts are all mean.
They're all, at least, they're not necessarily always mean, but they always seem a little off.
Why are ghosts always mean?
Like, this is just I should not be here.
Maybe it's because when we die, you know how negative experiences take up more space in our brain, are more readily available. Maybe when we die, that's the only thing that's left, and so we just play out the negative stuff.
It's just our negativity bias.
That's what's in the ghost.
But I think part of the beauty here is that whether you have ghosts, whether you have, persistence after death, unless you have an idea of an eternal soul.
Yeah.
But even keep in mind, this develops in a cosmology that accepts reincarnation. Buddhism develops within a worldview.
But it seems like in the very first chapter, they kind of made that. They said, they came upon this because the kids kind of looked like the parents. And
sure. Yeah, whatever the reason is, it's not something that's debated. It's just accepted as part of the world.
Okay, yeah.
Right?
Reincarnation.
So it's got a path to conceptualize a notion of a persistent soul. But what it ultimately concludes is that even if there's reincarnation, that itself will fade at some point, right? That is an outcome of impermanence more than a testimony to some sort of eternal soul.
And not because you find nirvana and then you stop reincarnating?
Right. I mean, that's the sort of thing is you think, because I think it's more that if you're reincarnating,
it's directional.
You could have a notion then of an eternal soul going through time. Except that seems to be bad, right? The first noble truth is that is a state of
that's suffering.
Of suffering. And so can we get out? And the Buddhist argument is But the fact that you can get out shows its impermanence.
Yeah.
Right? That's why it's often important for Buddhist teachers to remind you that nirvana, that escape, that release is not you getting to go to heaven, right? It's you recognizing your fundamental impermanence and maybe at that point being able to let go. Like, part of the notion here is that you're grasping onto your world.
That's attachment.
Right? And so that very notion of I must be a thing keeps pulling you back into existence. And once you can let go of that, then when you die, you're not sitting there decaying. You can let go.
Yeah.
You can let go with bliss, right? That's why there's all these these practices that are about preparing for death, and at that moment of death, being in the right mental state to let go of your notion that you are a self.
I remember I did the ketamine assisted psychotherapy.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember the first time doing it, going through this one visualization of there being deep crevasses. And then the next visualization was me kind of really grasping onto something that was either above or aside a deep, deep void. And there was like a real terror and fear that if I let go of that, it was unknown. It was uncertainty, but I did not want to do it.
Right, because the whole thing might fall apart.
Yeah.
So part of what this seems to be is an argument for really conceptually driven nerds like us for explaining why you should just let go.
Why you should let go.
Like, because we come up with lots of theories for reality. So like, here's a good theory for reality that lets you let go of it.
Grant.
I mean, that's kind of what he says at the end. Like, this is a good idea because it helps you let go of things.
Yeah. To release yourself from suffering is to like not be attached.
Right.